Now let's talk about the phylum Arthropoda. We are going to discuss about the general characteristics of the organisms under the phylum Arthropoda. We are going to discuss about the various classes under the phylum Arthropoda, and we are going to discuss many more. Let's start with the general characteristics of the organisms under the phylum Arthropoda. One, they have segmented bodies. That means their bodies are being segmented into parts. For example, they have the head, they have the thorax, and they have the abdomen. And some of them, the head and the thorax are being fused together to form what we call cephalothorax. And some of them, they have separate head, separate thorax, and separate abdomen. Next, their body are covered with exoskeleton. Exo means outside. That means the skeleton is outside the body of the organism while the flesh is inside. The third one, they are bilaterally symmetrical. Bi means two. So in bilateral symmetry, there is only a single plane passing through the midline of the organism that divide the organism into two equal halves. Next, they have jointed working legs. For example, this is one joint here and we have another one here. That's why we said they have jointed working legs or appendages. Next, they are triploblastic animals. Tri means three. So when we talk about blastic, we are talking about the body layer. So if we say they are triploblastic animals, that means their body is divided into three layers. We have the ectoderm. The ecto means outside, and the derm is talking about the layer. So the ectoderm is the layer outside. And we have the endoderm. Endo means inside, and the derm is talking about the body layer. So the endoderm is the layer that is right inside. And we have the mesoderm. Meso means in between, and the derm is talking about the body layer. So the layer in between the ectoderm and the endoderm is what we call the mesoderm. We have five classes that we are going to discuss under this phylum Arthropoda. We have the class Insecta, we have the class Crustacean, we have the class Arachnida, we have the class Chilopoda, and class Diplopoda. Now let's start with the class Crustacean. Crustacean, they are mainly aquatic organisms except the woodlice. When we say organism is an aquatic animal, the word aqua means water. So if we talk about aquatic animals, these are animals that live in water. Next, they have a pair of compound eyes. The compound eyes, they have many lenses in it, but the simple eye, they just have one lens in it. So for this organism, they have a pair of compound eyes. Their body is divided into two parts. One part is the one in which the head and the thorax fuse together to form cephalothorax, and the other part is the abdomen. Next, they have two pairs of antennae. The antenna is what they use for sensitivity in their environment. Next, they have five or more pairs of jointed working legs. For example, in the crab here, there are five pairs of jointed working legs. Some of them, they have more than five. And the last one is that they breathe with the help of gills. Since they are living in water, they use their gill for respiration. And examples of these animals include crabs, lobsters, woodlice, ranks, etc. For exam purpose, you will be given a diagram to identify it. For example, here, this one is a crab. After you identify it, you will be asked to state the phylum, that is the Phylum Arthropoda, and you have to give characteristics to justify your statements. And next, you have to identify each class, that is the class Crustacean. Then next, you have to give observable features. If they ask you for observable features or characteristics, you give things that you can see with your naked eye. Don't give things or parts that are inside which you are not seeing. For example, you can give observable characteristics like one, they have a pair of compound eyes. Two, their body is divided into two. You can write cephalothorax and abdomen. That one is observable. Then the next, they have two pairs of antennae. You can see it. They have five pairs of jointed walking legs. That one is for crab. They have five. If you see, they have seven pairs of appendages, you write it. If you see there are five pairs of appendages, you write it. Whatever you see, that's why they say observable characters, what you are seeing. But you cannot see the gain. So if you write the brief with the help of the gaze, then where is the gain? Can you see it from the outside? No. So in that case, you will not be awarded any mark for it. Now let's talk about this diagram, because in some cases or in most of the cases, if they are coming with a crab, you have to label some of the parts. So this part here is the antenna, which I say is used for sensitivity, and the eye here is for vision, and we have the cephalothorax, in which the head and the thorax are being fused to form one, and we have the abdomen here, and we have the jointed walking legs, and the feet legs here, they are called the swimming legs. According to this diagram that we have here, the first pair of legs that they are having, it is being divided into tactile, propodus, and carpus. The tactile is what they open up in order to grip the organism or the prey, and the propodus is what they use to open up the tactile, and the carpus is the one providing the rotation. Next that we have to talk about is the class Arachnida. Let's start with the general characteristics of the organisms under the class Arachnida. One, they are mainly terrestrial. When we talk about animals being terrestrial, that means they live on land. Their body is divided into the head and the thorax are fused to form one segment called the cephalothorax, and we have the second segment called the abdomen. Next, they lack antenna. The antenna that is used in other animals for sensitivity, for them, they don't have it. They have four pairs of jointed walking legs. If you can count it, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So for them, they have four pairs of jointed walking legs. They have 8 simple eyes. They have no true mouth parts, but use one of their legs for capturing prey. For them, what they use is called chilichire. It is the chilichire that they use to capture their prey, and it is that chilichire that they use to inject poison into the prey. And lastly, they use long beaks for respiration. Examples of organisms include spider, mite, tick, scorpions, etc. And here also, if they are coming with an organism under Arachnida, it can be a spider that is mostly common in our environment. So if you are being given a spider, first you have to identify it. So if you are being given a diagram, first you have to identify it whether it is a spider or not. The first thing you have to do, you count the number of legs the organism it is having. If it is having 5 or more pairs of legs, that means it is under crustacean. If it is having 4 pairs of legs, that means it is under the class Arachnida. And you think about the common one that we have, it can be spider. For spider, they have what we call the spinnerets. The spinneret is what they use to remove the web, which they can use to create the spider web. They have other parts like the chili, which I have talked about. This chili is what they use to capture their prey and is what they use to inject venom into the prey in order to paralyze it. And they have the pedipalp. The pedipalp is what they use to detect touch, hold prey and transfer sperm cell into the female. They have the eyes for vision and they have the abdomen in female that contains eggs. Next is the class Insecta, which is the largest class by number of organisms. They are purely terrestrial, that means they live on land. Their body is divided into 3 parts. For them, their body is divided into 3 segments. They have the head, they have the thorax, and they have the abdomen. Unlike the other 2 classes that we have discussed, that is the class Crustacean and Arachnida, in which the head and the thorax are fused together to form what we call cephalothorax. But in here, the head is separated from the thorax and the thorax is separated from the abdomen. They have 1 pair of antenna. Look at their antenna, we just have 1 pair of it. And they have 3 pairs of jointed walking legs. If you count their pairs of jointed legs, they have 3 pairs of jointed legs, 1, 2, and 3 here. They have well-developed compound and simple eyes on the head. Next, they usually have 1 or 2 pairs of wings on the thorax for flight. Some of them do not have wings, but those that have wings, they can have 1 or 2 pairs of it on the thorax for flight. And they use their trachea system, which is connected to the outside by what we call the spiracle, which is here, for respiration. Next, they undergo what we call metamorphosis, which can be complete or incomplete metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is a separate topic that we have to discuss it in another tutorial. They use their malpighian tubi for excretion. So excretion is the process by which metabolic waste are removed from the body of an organism. Example of animals under the class Insecta. We have cockroach, we have butterfly, we have termites, we have mosquito, and we have grasshopper, etc. We have more. Now let's discuss about the 4th class, which is the class Diplopoda. The Diplopoda, they are many land animals. That means they are terrestrial and they are found in dark places under rotten leaves. Their body is divided into 2 parts, but for them the head and the thorax are not joined together. For them, the thorax is absent, so they just have the head and segmented body, which is the abdomen. They have one pair of antenna. Look at the antenna, yeah, they just have one pair of it. And they have two pairs of jointed walking legs per segment. And they can have up to 11 to over 100 segments per organism. They use their trachea system for respiration, and that trachea system is connected to the outside via the spiracum. They have simple eyes. That means the pair of simple eyes they are having just have one lens in it. That's why we call it simple eye. If it is having many lenses in it, we call it compound eyes. Lastly, they are herbivorous. That means they feed only on plant materials. Example of this organism is millipede. The last class is the class Chilopoda, and we are going to discuss about its characteristics. One, they are mainly land animals. That means they live on land, and animals that live on land we call them terrestrial animal and are carnivorous. Unlike the Diplopoda, in which they are herbivorous, the Chilopoda here, they are carnivorous. That means they feed on other animals. Next, they are found in moist places. Then their body is divided into two parts, just like what we have in the Chilopoda, in which the thorax is absent. So for them, they just have the head and segmented body called the abdomen. The head has one pair of antenna with poison clouds, which they use to inject poison into their prey. And they have one pair of jointed walking legs per segment, unlike what we have in the Diplopoda, in which they have two pairs of jointed walking legs per segment. In here in the Chilopoda, they have one pair of jointed walking legs per segment. And in here, the segment can range from 15 to over 100 segments. And just like the Chilopoda, they respire through the trachea, which is connected to the outside via the spiracum. Example of this organism is the centipede. So on this diagram here, we have the centipede, and if you can observe it here, they just have one pair of legs per segment. But in the case of the Diplopoda, they have two pairs of legs per segment. And if you observe their body structure, in the case of the Diplopoda, they are long and cylindrical. But in the case of this one, their body is dorsoventrally flattened. But in the Diplopoda, the body is cylindrical. Now we have the summary of all what we have discussed before. This table here can help you to identify the various classes that we have under the phylum Arthropoda, with the exception of two, that is the Chilopoda and the Diplopoda. But I've talked about the differences between the two. You can use that differences to identify the other two classes, in which the Diplopoda, they have two pairs of legs per segment, and the Chilopoda, they have one pair of legs per segment. The Diplopoda, they have a cylindrical body shape, but the Chilopoda, they have a dorsoventrally flattened body. That means their body is flat. Now let's talk about the three remaining classes. How can you differentiate them? We start with the body segments. The crustacean, they can have two or three body segments, but most of them, they have two body segments. more the one that we are used to, like the crab. The arachnids, they have two body segments. That means they have the cephalothorax and the abdomen. The Insecta, they have three body segments. They have the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. In terms of number of legs, the crustacean, they have five or more pairs of jointed walking legs. But in the case of Arachnida, there are four pairs of jointed walking legs. But in the case of the class Insecta, there are three pairs of jointed walking legs. When we talk about the antenna for crustacean, they have two pairs of antenna, which is absent in Arachnida, and we have one pair of antenna present in Insecta.